All right, guys. Hello. Welcome back to Hands On, the podcast for Tri-County Technical Center. I am your host, Owen Snow. Today we've got a guest here, Mr. Scott Wilhite. He is the instructor, of Computer Information System Security. So you do the CISS, which is computer operated IT stuff. So can you tell me a little bit more about like the program? What do you guys like learn in there?
So we started the year out with computer basics. A lot of kids are not thrown into computers and technology in that sense. They're thrown onto MacBooks and iPads, but that really doesn't give you a good grasp of how to use a Windows machine or a Linux machine. So we start the year off teaching them computer basics, how to navigate Windows, and then we quickly get to installing virtual machines. We get into Linux. We start learning all the Linux terminal commands. Get them comfortable with the Linux file system, and then we start using some Linux tools for penetration testing, for cybersecurity, for networking management and networking checks, whether it's open ports or network health.
Why do you think it's so important that students learn this computer networking and all that stuff?
Well, we're in a very digital age at this point. Especially with the pandemic, it kind of blew up the need for cybersecurity professionals because previously we weren't doing all of our important stuff was held, in-house doing meetings and production and stuff like that. Now everybody is doing that stuff remotely, which is great. It's great that we're able to adapt to that, but then that also introduces a bunch of security concerns. And the world is in need of a lot of cybersecurity professionals to help tidy up their networks and secure their documents. And
so, I mean, yeah, we're just invested into computers nowadays. I mean, the 21st century, it's been all about digital and, just media and screens. So, yeah, it's a different age than what it was back in the 20th century. But yeah, I think it's a good skill to know how to use those computers and how to use them efficiently. Can you talk to me more about like what kind of projects do you do for your class and just in general?
Okay. So as far as projects go, in the beginning of the year, we were a little haphazardly bouncing around from topic to topic. Some of the projects were, we created a dummy network in Cisco's networking toolkit. It basically allows you to set routers and hubs and switches up like you would in person physically, but allows you to do it virtually so you can get a good idea. It's used to design a network as an engineer, but you can also use the tool as a kind of to test your knowledge of how to set a network up. Then we moved into coding for a brief bit. We did Python. We did some basic Python programs, some calculator functions, some just basic general Python projects, just to get them an understanding of coding, more or less, not so much the skills of coding. It's more like being able to go to a country and order a hamburger off the menu versus being able to actually speak to somebody fluently. You just need to know enough about coding and understand how it's written to in this program specifically. We wasn't definitely the main goal, but that was a fun project. The kids really seem to enjoy the Python class, and I'd like to do more of that in the coming years.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah. So your classes, this is their first year actually having the CISS class. So it's your first year here in the program. What did you do before you decided to be an instructor here?
My So when I left school, I took a gap year, like a lot of people do. I went and worked in a shoe warehouse, worked for $9 an hour, 90 hours a week, a lot of times, just trying to put money away for college. That fall, I went to Eastern Maine Community College for electrical and automation. I did 2 semesters of that, decided that it wasn't going to be financially possible to work as much as I was working and go to college. So I dropped the college. I did my 2 semesters, and then I went back and I worked at a mill I went to a mill and I worked in their machine shop because I had previously at Tri-County taken metals manufacturing. So I worked in the machine shop for about 6-7 months, and then we caught up on all the work we needed to catch up on. So I went and worked for maintenance for about 4 months until they got caught up. And then I worked as a machine operator and machine mechanic for the next 2 years at Hardwood before landing in corrections, kind of another detour. Decided if it was too expensive to go to college, I was going to find a career that would pay you to train. And law enforcement is one of those career paths that you don't have to go to college for, and they will pay you for your training. I did that for 5 years. Worked at the Piscataquis County Jail. There were definitely some bad days, but overall the job was a decent job. I would definitely suggest it as maybe not as a career path, but not a bad temporary job situation. From there, I decided that I wanted to get into teaching. I wanted to at least try it. So I started subbing at Tri-County. And then I ended up full-time ed tech for Steve Hughes for the rest of the year after a teacher had left, and decided that I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of the curriculum creation and planning. I enjoyed the interaction with the students. And from there, I spent the summer doing IT for the school, and then I applied for a full-time ed tech position over to Dover in the makerspace. We did 3D printing and laser cutting. I helped kids with that. And then from there, I applied for the computer information system and security position and got it. So it's been a great year, honestly. I thought it was going to be a little more disorganized than it was, trying to get the whole program together. I mean, there was no program to start. I had to just come up with it from scratch. So I think it pulled together pretty well.
Yeah, you've had, I guess, a lot of jobs, and so
yeah,
you've had a lot of experience in the work field. So, but why did you want to apply for the computer system security job here at TCTC?
So I, growing up, I'd always been interested in computers. I spent a lot of my spare time, whether it was messing with the computers, fixing registry errors, modifying the operating system, just doing little projects on my own. I learned to do some coding on my own. I did some game design on my own. And it's just stuff that's always interested me. And every job that I've had along the way, I've been in some form of IT because of my computer knowledge. And it just kind of ended up being a good fit. That's one of my big interests. And if you enjoy learning a subject, it makes it that much easier to teach or to just grow in that specific field. So
yeah, I mean, computers, they're a lovely thing. I mean, I'm also interested in computers. That's one reason why I took the multimedia programs, because we work a lot with, some of the software for computers, and, I just want to gain some more knowledge on computers. I mean, and your class is great with, actually working with the computers and different softwares and whatever else you teach. But let's talk more about like the program specifically. Like, is there any certificates that you guys like will earn or, eventually get during the program?
Yeah. Under the guidance of Henry Felch at UMaine Augusta, we decided to go with a test out curriculum, and test out is based on CompTIA Security Plus and CompTIA Networking Plus certifications. Both of those certifications are available for our kids to take every year. They're not required to become persistent, not persistent, proficient. It's not required to be proficient in the subject to get the certification, but the certifications are all there. The students that are willing to put the extra effort in will pay out. Those certifications are, they're based on industry standards. Those CompTIA certifications are widely sought after. This next year, Henry Felch is going to allow a dual enrollment situation where UMaine Augusta is going to give college credit for the networking and the security plus, possibly even the coding course that we go over. So there's a chance that you could get 3 college credits per subject. So
that's really cool. I mean,
yeah,
obviously college is expensive, so having to take less classes is going to be a lot better. So we've got a student here with us. His name is Addisen Robinson. He's in the CISS program. So why did you choose to take CISS?
I decided to choose the computer info course because I have an interest in going into a computer-related field. Haven't decided exactly, but the variety of different things we do in this course will give me at least a little bit of preparation for all of the potential options.
So what have you learned so far in the class?
We spent a decent while on Linux, then a little bit on Java, and we just now recently got out of Networking Plus, and we're working on Security Plus.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what Network in Security Plus are?
Networking Plus is a lot of like the framework, both physical and digital, of a network that a company might use, like the computers connecting to the routers and whatnot. And then security is expanding on the physical and digital security that we did a little bit in networking, but not a whole lot.
What's the difference between Linux and then compared to Windows or Mac?
Linux is a lot more, I guess I'll say, professional, I guess. At least that's what it poses as. And Windows feels a lot more casual to just use.
Why? When would you use Linux and why would you use it?
Linux is, I guess, it's a lot easier to use prompts in Linux, to access the nitty-gritty details of the system, and therefore access other systems depending on what you would be doing with it.
How is, doing the cybersecurity class, computer security class different than, sitting in a classroom all day at your high school?
Well, in Tri-County, since it's a lot smaller of a class, since we have a rather small classroom. There's 5 people, including the teacher and all the students. So it's a lot easier to have a, I guess, like, connection to everybody in the class. Like, it's a lot more, friendly, since there's fewer people, so you get to know everybody better. And on top of that, it's just, I guess, a lot more relaxed, I guess, because we try and go at the pace that's right for everybody in it. And also an added bonus is that homework is very rarely a thing, so just much nicer in that front as well.
So I know, like, you signed up for CISS and you got into CISS, and you're actually here to do something you like. And I feel like that's a lot more different than actually sitting in high school, because you have to take, like, your required English class, your required math class, your required science class. So I think it's just better in that aspect too. And plus you get to, like I said, do something you like in that.
Yeah, because in a regular high school, you do get to choose your classes for the most part, but there are some that are completely required. Like this year, I didn't have a choice on any of my classes, because I had to take a specific social studies, had to take a specific science, only had one math option left, and there were only 2 options for English. But Tri-County, there's a whole slew of options, and I got to choose the best one for what I was interested in, which also adds to the, I guess, relaxed nature of the class, because everyone that's there wants to be there.
Yeah, I think that's important as well. So you've been learning a lot about how computers work and how the networks work, how the network just flows and all that stuff. Do you plan on taking this information you've learned out of high school into college or future careers or whatever?
Yes. I chose this class for the specific reason that I wanted to do something with computers in the future. I haven't exactly decided what, but it does allow multiple possibilities to branch off the knowledge that I will be given throughout the course of it. And I plan on retaking it next year, so yeah.
Well, I think you've given us a lot more information of what the computer information system security class is really like. And I just want to say thank you for joining us on today's episode of this hands-on podcast. I mean, you had a lot to say, and I thank you for that. And, your class seems really cool. So we will see you guys next time. Stay tuned.